Hello YouTube. I actually lost track of what day it is, but I have it in my calendar, but perhaps it's Psychology Everyday 108 or something like that. It's Saturday, it's raining outside, and in a short while I'm going to start doing my assignment for my summer course in Jungian psychology. It's very difficult for me right now to not make every video about Jungian psychology, and I wanted to make sure that I contain it to Fridays so that I can make that a bit longer, and I'm also aiming to do a bit more of an edited video coming this Friday. I like to, some days, most days, I just want to turn on the camera and talk to you guys because that is really fun. But I do understand that it's a bit slower. When talking about the YouTube algorithm and stuff like that, it's something that I'm fascinated by. And even though it is not a, important goal for me to get many subscribers, it is very stupid of me to mix content that way, because some people will be drawn to the shorts, some people will be drawn to the longer videos, and some people will be drawn to the sports psychology and the edited format of those. So, different crowds, and this will mean that my videos will always have a lower amount of views per subscriber, because half of my subscribers don't watch the Jungian psychology, and the other half perhaps might not be watching the sports psychology. But that's okay. Today it is a bit more of a chill video. It's Saturday. Maybe I should do chilling Saturday. I ordered a book about 3 months ago. Well, 2 books really, and I still haven't gotten them. One of the books is Propaganda by Edward something, the nephew of Freud, which I really want to read. And then we have King, Warrior, Magician, Lover by, I do believe it's Robert Moore. And Robert Moore was a modern Jungian psychologist. He died 2 years ago, I do believe. And it's very important to distinguish between shitty wannabes that latch on to a big name and try to make it something, they just take the ideas, they don't understand them, and then they present them with a different name or something like that and try to make a name of it. This is very common in academia, where sort of midwits, untalented people will just plagiarize the greats, but repackage their ideas as to look original and creative, when in reality they suck. Don't need to give any examples of this. There's plenty to go around. Far too many, really. And when it comes to Jungian psychology, and I'm not trying to be elitist or some sort of a gatekeeper here, but this is one of the fields where this is most true. Because Jung, first of all, Jungian psychology is a bit of a status thing amongst some, in some, aspect of psychology. a Jungian analyst is for sure a black belt in some sort of way. And it's really good that the threshold to becoming a Jungian analyst is actually as high as it is, and difficult. Because so much pop psychology, just garbage, comes from people trying to repackage Jungian psychology. He came up with the functions of extroversion and introversion, feeling, thinking, and sensing, intuition, and what they did with these concepts in later personality psychology would make him turn over in his grave. It's absolutely abhorrent how they have used these words to describe other things in a way that he himself would absolutely despise. The guy, Robert Moore, who wrote King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, is not one of these fakes. It is an excellent presentation of developmental psychology in a Jungian fashion. Developmental psychology, how you grow up, and perhaps in a good way, perhaps in a good or bad way, is developmental psychology, and the Jungian way of looking at this is all-encompassing. So from birth to death, the circle of life, the complete existence. You of course have other developmental psychologists who focused on various parts. So Piaget was from basically 1 year old to 12, and how your cognitive function develop. Erik Erikson had the 8 phases that spanned over life, with the important life tasks that you have to complete, or which, if you don't, will lead to bad outcomes in the next phase. This is quite similar, but also quite shallow compared to Jungian shadow theory in the development. King, Warrior, Magician, Lover focuses on, I haven't got the book yet, but I've heard him talk a lot about it, and I have seen it and heard it in various other circumstances, and also discussed it with friends who have read the book. But like I said in a different video, don't take my word for anything. I don't care. I'm just trying my best here. Some things I know well, and some things I don't know so well. The things that I talk about on Sundays are things that I know 100%, and the other days it's between 50 and 90%. King, Warrior, Magician, Lover is 4 masculine archetypes that every man should aspire to be in some part. Some parts you may embody more than others, but if you are severely lacking in one of them, you might become the shadow version of another. So let me explain. The first we're going to talk about is the warrior. This has always been my main archetype. If you like martial arts, if you become a soldier, if you like combat, integrity, masculinity, potency, that is the warrior way. Then you have the magician. And of course, an example of this is Carl Jung, Freud, Darwin, Immanuel Kant, and so forth. Wisdom, intelligence, education, and stuff like that. That is one thing that I rejected for many years, but then when I was 27, I'm like, I really should get working on this because I do have a talent for it, and I don't know why I was so stupid to reject this. Maybe I thought that a warrior doesn't read books. I don't know. Then you have the lover, which is someone that dares to dance, make jokes, often or sometimes on his own behalf. He's good with women and lover, dancer, singer, stuff like that. The king, as far as I can understand, contains all of the other three, but it is also a leader, is also popular in the way that a good king is. So he is freely elected. He's not a dictator. The tyrant is the shadow version of the king. You can see this in The Lion King. Mufasa is the king and Scar is the tyrant. And what separates a tyrant from a king is that his lover aspect is not at all integrated or developed. So, a classic saying is that the first thing the tyrant does is when he gets the throne is to execute the jester, because he will not have people joke at his expense. And Scar is like that in The Lion King. He hates the bird, locks it up, and threatens to kill it, and almost does, I do believe, when he tries to joke. Mufasa loves jokes. He plays around with Simba, and of course the lover he does have, I don't remember her name. Is it Nala or is it Simba's mother? Scar, of course, is alone. In later videos we do see that he has at least one child, but he didn't spend any time with the mother nor the child. And so to become a complete good man, a king is something that I do believe that everyone should aspire to be spiritually and developmentally, even if you are not a king, not an actual king of Sweden. Only one person can be that, right? But this requires you to integrate all of these three sides. And for all of them, there are ways of doing it poorly. And, you have the shadow aspects of the warrior, which is power without morals. Could talk about Andrew Tate, which is the perfect embodiment of the warrior archetype, and also why so many people find him interesting is because he's sort of on that crossroads where he has, to a very large extent, been sort of the bad version of the warrior, but people are starting to see glimpses of a redemption of some sort, but it is not complete. He's still rationalizing, and the sort of intellectual approach to morality compared to the objective, holy approach to morality is what separates a good warrior from a bad warrior, or a good from an evil, or a light from a shadow, whatever. Because a king follows his morals and principles even when it is not the smartest thing to do, because it's the right thing to do. So in The Lion King, Scar makes some sort of a threat to Mufasa, implying he's gonna kill him, basically, but between the lines. And Mufasa could have just killed Scar on the spot, and that would have been the smart thing to do, because as we know, spoilers, Scar does ending up killing Mufasa. But Mufasa doesn't kill him. He does what is right, and he confronts him, and Scar, being a coward, not having the warrior archetype in him, doesn't have the warrior nor the lover. He only has the magician. He's very smart, right? He backs away, and then he kills Mufasa in a very cowardly way, non-honorable, not with strength, but with intelligence. There's also connections to be done to Cain and Abel and other things, but I'm gonna make a complete video about The Lion King some other day. And the problem in modern society is that men are not being raised to be any of these things. Our inner magician is undeveloped in many people, because we're spending all of our time watching TV, Netflix, YouTube. But this is good YouTube. You are developing your inner magician instead of reading books, talking to people, thinking. Of course, the warrior archetype is very suppressed, and don't want to get political or anything like that, but the strong man is considered dangerous today, which is not true. The weak man, Scar, that's what's dangerous. And the king, well, that is also being suppressed, because can't even be a king if you are not part warrior, part magician. And lover as well is very problematic, because it's sort of, again, not to go into too much practical things of the world, but it requires a proper core family, where you see your father and your mother love each other. You learn from your father about men and about women from the man's perspective, and you learn from your mother about women and men from the women's perspective, and you inherit wisdom. And of course, a secure attachment. There's just a huge problem today with daddy issues, with mom issues, with anxious attachment, with avoidant attachment, fearful attachment, and so forth and so forth. And what I'm going to talk about in the next video, that was going to be the subject of this video, are rites of initiation, and how they very much matter for developing these 4 archetypes. I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday, and it's going to be a good day. Please like and subscribe, and have a great day.